AFL23 Pro Team, it's been out for about a week now, so I thought it's time to take a bit more of a look at it. What are we liking? What are we not liking? And some overall improvements that I would love to see come into the mode that I think that would elevate it to another level. So at the moment, I'm probably giving it about a 6.5 out of 10. There's just a couple of things that I would love to see tweaked to help enhance gameplay for everyone, and we'll take a look at those now. Okay, so the first thing I would like to see improved is in the Premiership Challenge, the online versus mode. I think a lot of people are obviously grinding out this game, not paying extra money to buy packs and things like that, which is fine. I'm one of those people. And I just think that for the rewards, waiting 35 days to get the rewards for your ladder position, it just feels too long because we kind of need those rewards and those packs, those contracts, those players. We need them now because we're building our team gradually and are relying on rewards to get it done. So I'd like to maybe have this as a 2-week cycle. So you have your ladder, so your top 8 play off in a final, you get your rewards in a 2-week cycle, and then start it again. I kind of feel like 35 days is a little bit too long to wait for my rewards. And I kind of feel like people might lose interest when you've got to try and keep yourself in, 6th rank for another 35 days. It just seems like a long time to play it for. So that's just the one small thing. I would maybe change it to do a 2-week cycle. And also, guys, if you're playing these games, don't rage quit. Don't be that person. It affects contracts. It affects XP. If you're copping a loss, just cop it on the chin, learn from it, but don't rage quit, please, guys. The next one I would love to see change is in ladder leaders, specifically the State of Origin, although it probably applies to the other ones as well. But I know a lot of people have flagged this. So in this one in particular, a lot of these games are on easiest, and the overall rankings for these teams that you're playing against are 66, which is fine for the most part. But then when you get to a game like where did it go? A game like this one and the one before, so 13 and 14, you're playing like 10 and 15-minute quarters. So I played a 15-minute quarter one, and I think I won by over 300 points. So it's not too bad, I suppose, for objectives and things like that, but it's just a bit of a mental battle to get over 15-minute quarters when you're absolutely annihilating a team. So I would like to see the easiest difficulty modes on ladder leaders capped at 7.5 minutes. I think that's long enough that you'll smash out a big score regardless. It's not too mind-numbing, but it's still got a little bit of length into it. Save the 15-minute quarters for the hardest ones. Make it really worth your while in a real battle to get those ones over the line. Absolutely agree. But I just reckon make these 7.5-minute quarters for the easiest leveled ones. And another tip for this mode as well, guys, you can obviously see in the State of Origin one that the teams you're playing against here are 66 overall. And I think that's about it. They go up. Yeah, 66 overall. So don't use your best cards against these teams if you're doing State of Origin ladder leaders. Make a second squad. Use your bronze cards. Use your silver cards. Couple of golds if you have to. But don't waste it on your sapphires and emeralds and diamonds because you'll, on easiest mode against the 66 side, you'll smash them regardless with a bronze team pretty much. And it's just a way to manage your contracts, essentially, so keep that in mind. So the third and final thing is contracts. Speaking of, there's probably one of the big talking points for the mode in its entirety. And I think contracts will be manageable. You do have to manage your players, like I mentioned before, with ladder leaders. My big problem is, even when you're looking at the gold contracts and the silver contracts, when you're applying them to sapphire and emerald players, like you're only getting 5 games for a sapphire player here, 10 there. Some of them are even less for the sapphire players or for the emerald players. And for your blue sapphire cards, they're even less again. And I'm not sure about diamond because I don't have a diamond player. So I just think they need to either boost the amount of games that it gives emerald and sapphire players for the gold, silver, and bronze contracts. Because look, 1 game for an emerald player, 2 games for an emerald player, it just doesn't cut it, unfortunately, because eventually all of our teams are going to be emerald and sapphire or sapphire, and you're going to need like hundreds of contracts to get through it. The other idea I had was, what if they introduced line-based contracts? So what I mean by that is, have a forward line-based contract and say it's worth 10 games, that those 10 games get applied to all of your forwards, not just one play, but all of your forwards. Have a midfield contract that applies to 10 games to all of your midfielders, and a defensive contract that applies 10 games to all of your defenders. Just something that you can spread the love a bit, because you look at EAFC, you're kind of dealing with 11 players, 11 contracts, not too bad. They're pretty accessible. But I just think there's too much of a disparity between the number of contracts given to the higher cards for gold and silver and bronze contracts to make it work. Like, I think that when it comes time for me to recontract my players next time round, I'm going to run out. I don't think I'm going to have enough. And I actually, when I open packs that have got contracts in it, I'll take 2 contracts every time. If it's 4 selections, I'll take 2 contracts, 2 players. And I'm obviously doing all the other modes to earn contracts that way too. So make sure you grind that part as well. But I do think they need to tweak this a little bit to not make it as difficult for people. And I don't want to make it hard for people. I just think maybe the calculations have just been a little bit missed, that's all. But aside from that, digging the online mode, I've had vastly pretty good experiences in terms of connection and not too many glitches and things like that. So that's been good. Loving the amount of offline modes. I think it's really important that caters to that type of player. Not everyone likes to play online against other people. And yeah, my advice would just be to grind all the different modes. Don't just stick to one, because try and get your XP boosters and your footy point boosters, because that's going to help rack up those numbers quicker to enable you to open more packs. So there you go. There's my review of Pro Team after week 1. Very glad it's here. Very glad a lot of you are playing it and enjoying it. It's been a nice breath of fresh air. And yeah, hopefully we see some promo cards soon. And if we can see some of those tweaks I mentioned before, it could edge up closer to like an 8.5 for this type of game mode for an AFL game. But enjoying it so far. Hope you all are too. And let me know what you think in the comments below.